Hello, and in this tutorial we will actually be doing some real coding instead of just this stock stuff to just get it working. If you followed the last tutorial, you know that we got to here where we got to a blank window. It's completely black, but we're going to put some stuff on it today. Okay. So the first thing we need to do, oops, I need to delete this. Don't worry about that. We need to get an image in here to put onto the screen. So what we can do is we can click these three dots right here and click upload file. And you can just download any image from the internet. I actually have over here somewhere. Where is it? Here. I have this image of like a starry night sky. You can't really see it very well because this is being recorded, but this is like a starry night sky image. And so I'm going to open this, and as you can see, it uploaded it, and the name of it is back.png, the name of the image. And actually you can probably see it really well now. Yeah, there you go. It's kind of a starry night, and this is going to be the background for our Pong game. So now what we need to do is we need to make a surface for this. What is a surface? A surface is something you can see. Something you can print onto the screen and that you can see. If I switch back to here, still have yesterday's tutorial. Okay, so usually when you're on a computer, you have something like this. You have your big window where you play your game. Maybe you have like a smaller thing on the top. You have like an X to close the program, and something to minimize it, and something to maximize it. So this has got to be familiar to you if you use a computer at all. And what this part right here, this huge square down here, is a surface. It is something you can see that is being printed onto the screen. And on this surface, you can put smaller surfaces. So I can put a surface of maybe a ball. If I can draw a ball, let's see. Here we go. I can draw a ball like this. So maybe you have like a surface that looks like a ball because you imported an image of a ball, and that's perfectly fine. And you can print this surface right here. You can print this surface right here. You can print this surface onto the screen. And this is just this is how Pygame works. It's a huge hierarchy. So this is the base. This base screen right here. This is the base. This is the first ever. This is the first screen. This is the first surface, and you can put surfaces onto this surface, such as this one, and say if I wanted to, I could make a third surface. I could put a surface onto this surface. Say I wanted to, I don't know, have my surface just be a little, I don't know, a little tiny dot. I don't know. I don't have much space right here, so it'll just be a little tiny dot. So you can put surfaces on top of surfaces on top of surfaces, and that it's just this huge hierarchy. And you may, this may be familiar if you've gotten into computers. I switch back to this scene. If you know computers pretty well, this is how computers work. They have their home folder. This is where everything originates from, and then you have folders in folders and folders and folders. So I can go to folders and folders and folders, and I can just, there's folders and folders and folders. Just like in Pygame, there are surfaces on top of surfaces on top of surfaces. But in practice, you will usually want to print most of your stuff on this on this base surface right here, on this this base surface that's just right here, the biggest one. So if I go back to here, this piece of code right here, this screen equals pygame.display.setMode, this is the base surface right here. And you can see it too. If I run this, then there is my base surface. It's automatically, just this line of code just automatically prints it onto the screen. It makes it appear. But when you make other surfaces, it would be a two-step process. You make the surface and then you print it onto the screen in a specific place. So, enough rambling, let's talk about this. So, I have back.png, if you remember, it's the night sky. I want to print that on. Oops. Ooh, bless me. Okay, so like I said, it is a two-step process. You make the surface and then you print the surface where you want it to. So making the surface is a one-step job. You only want to do it once, because once you make the surface, it's already there. So we do not need to write this in our game loop. We're going to be printing the surface in our game loop, because that's something we want to do over and over again. But making the surface, we only want to do that once. So just like all other things, we store surfaces in a variable, and we can call this variable whatever we want. I am going to call mine, let's see, background surface. There we go. Background surface, and then equals, just like you're assigning a variable. And then this is how you load in an image as a surface. We're going to make it equal to pygame.image.load, and then parentheses. So when we put in this command, pygame.image.load, this will load in an image as a surface. So then it's available and we can print it on the screen if we want to. So the parameter we need to send it is which image we want to do. So we want to make use this image, back.png. So we're going to pass it in a string, back.png. And you know it's in a string. It's a little literal string of text because it's in these what are these called? Ticks, I think. I don't know. You can also put them in these things. What are these called? Quotation marks. You can do either one. I personally like using these ticks, but do whatever suits you. So now we have this background surface, pygame.image.load back.png. And now, second step, we need to actually print it onto the screen. And this isn't something we want to do once, because if we just print it onto the screen once, it's just gonna print it and then it's gonna be done. It's just gonna print it for a brief second and then it's gonna stop. So we want to put it in our game loop so it prints over and over and over again on each frame. So remember to have the correct indentation right here. You want it to be like this. And remember about the hierarchy of surfaces. So you can print a surface on any surface, and we want to print it on. We want to print it on this surface right here, the one that is circled in blue. This main surface, and if you remember, that is this surface right here. If I run this, it is the screen. Screen equals pygame.display.setMode. So remember, this is creating the base, the base surface. This surface right here. and we want to print it onto this surface. We want to print the background surface onto this surface. So let's see. So screen, because we're printing it onto the screen surface, dot blit, which prints it onto the surface. And then we need to pass it 2 parameters. The first parameter is what surface we want to print onto it. And the second parameter is where we want it to be printed. So, if you messed around with a graph or whatever it's called, that's not the color I want to put it in. You may be familiar with like it being 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. on the X and Y axes. But Pygame is a bit different with how it does it. Pygame does it like this. It's like the origin is up here, and then here's the x-axis, and here's the y-axis, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc., etc., and then 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., etc., etc. So, yeah, remember the origin is up here, not down here. So we want to I totally went off on a tangent right there. But in the screen.blit, we want to pass it 2 parameters. Again, we want to pass it which image we want to, or which surface we want to print onto the screen, and the coordinates, where we want to print it onto the screen. So, which surface do we want to print onto the screen? This one. We want to print the background surface onto the screen, because we just made that. We just made the surface. So, background surface, that is one of the parameters. And the second parameter is going to be a tuple. If you remember what a tuple is, it's like a list. It is very similar to a list, except you cannot change the values in it, and it's in parentheses instead of brackets. So, parentheses. And we're going to pass it this tuple. And where we want to, actually, I'll demonstrate this in a second. I'm just going to, as an example, pass it 100, 100. And so it's going to print at coordinates 100, 100. So let's run this. Hope it works. Oh no, guess what I forgot? I forgot a bit more stock stuff. Right at the bottom here, we want to write pygame.display.flip, parentheses. This updates the screen. Yeah, that's just more stock stuff. Let's run this again. And there we go. Here we go. So we've got the, as you can see, the coordinates 100, 100 place the top left corner of our image right here. And that's just how the printing works. When we pass it coordinates, we're saying, where do we want the top left corner to be? And it's at 100, 100. But we don't want that. We want it to be flush. So we want this top left corner to be at over here, right here, so it fills the whole thing. We want it to be at 0, 0. So we can change this. We can change the parameters. So it prints it at 0, 0. So let's run this. And there we go. Now it's filling the whole screen. Thank you for watching. In the next tutorial, we will be learning about rects and how we can actually make these surfaces interactive and moving.